Now, Chris, we've been talking about veteran quarterbacks, Garoppolo and Romo, but there are clearly not enough good ones to go around for all the QB-needy teams. How many quarterbacks do you expect to be drafted in the first round?
I think we're probably looking at 4, and I think it's the 4 names that we're familiar with by this point, which is Deshaun Watson, Mitch Trubisky, DeSean Kaiser, and Patrick Mahomes. I think Mahomes is the one to kind of keep an eye on because he's sort of surging right now just in how much people know him and how much people are paying attention to him. But I think talent-wise and upside, he's right there with the top of this group. And so, like you said, there are so many quarterback-needy teams. So I guess we'll see how the chips fall here in the next few weeks. If the 49ers and Bills and Browns all end up with veteran quarterbacks, that changes things. But I think we're going to see 4 in that first round.
4 quarterbacks, but there's so many red flags, Chris. I mean, let's start at the top. Deshaun Watson, 17 interceptions. How do you explain that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that you do. I think some of them, you go back and look, and they're not all on him, as usually is the case. I think there were some bad reads. There were definitely some bad throws, and that's something that teams are going to have to figure out if that's a part of his game that can be fixed going to the NFL, or if he's always going to be a little turnover prone. But I think you'll hear a lot of talk about what Matt Ryan did his final year at Boston College. I think he ended up with 18 interceptions that year, and we obviously see what he's done in the right offense in Atlanta. So I think it's something that, you're never going to completely get rid of that part of his game, but a lot of it was just sort of reading defenses, a couple bad throws. So I think there are, that number's higher than maybe his play suggested.
Now, Mitch Trubisky started just 13 games at North Carolina. Is there enough information about him to go on?
I think if you're looking for traits, if you're looking for things that translate to the next level, then there's enough information. I mean, we had similar conversation last year with Carson Wentz. He missed almost all of his senior year with that wrist injury and then came back and played in the championship game. So it was a very similar conversation. Not a lot of passes thrown. And for Carson Wentz, it was against a lower level of competition, too. At least with Trubisky, you've seen him against that FBS competition. So, yeah, I mean, I think with all these guys, to some extent, you're talking about a very difficult situation if you want them to step in like Wentz did and play, or like Dak Prescott did. In terms of the physical attributes and the mental attributes that you look for from a quarterback, I think that there's enough there to figure out whether or not you want him in that first round.
Now, one guy I've seen you move up and down, Chris, is DeSean Kaiser, the Notre Dame quarterback. I can't get over that he lost his starting job. Is that something that should really worry teams?
I mean, I think that'll come up and when they talk to him about what happened in his college career. And the same thing with Trubisky. That's a similar question now, because Trubisky, the reason he doesn't have a lot of starts is because he didn't win the starting job until this year. So I think you'll be looking at similar questions for both those guys. I mean, to some extent, I think you try to separate Kaiser from what really became quite a bit of turmoil. I think you try to figure out how much of it was him, how much of it was coaching, how much of it was just factors beyond his control. And so it'll come up, and those losses will come up, certainly. But again, I think if you're looking for a guy who kind of fits the NFL mold, he's got that size, he's got some mobility. We see him make the throws to all levels of the field. So a lot of the boxes are checked off still.
Now, Patrick Mahomes, great arm. He's got a cannon, but he's coming out of the air raid offense at Texas Tech. That's a tough transition. I mean, I think Jared Goff struggled coming out of a similar offense. Chris, is that going to keep teams at bay from Mahomes?
I'm sure it'll scare some teams away. And it is, yeah. I mean, we saw Goff struggle. We've seen those air raid system quarterbacks struggle repeatedly at the next level. You mentioned the arm. I think that's one of the big selling points for him. He has an absolute cannon. He throws from those sort of Matthew Stafford arm angles where you wonder how he's even getting the ball to go forward, and he throws it 50 yards on a dime. So that arm is special, and if a team can figure out how to use it, I mean, he's like I said, I think he has as much upside as anyone in this draft.